I think one of the things that I've learned over this experience is that environmental stewardship, like the importance of it, isn't necessarily just in like the energy savings and like the decreased carbon emissions and like the environmental and global impact, but more of like the people that it directly affects as far as like the financial strain lifted off of people's shoulders or all of the knowledge that these campers get to learn when we go and teach them with the energy kits and stuff. And just seeing like the actual panels up and the impact and people's reactions, I think, is one of the more important parts of environmental stewardship.
Welcome to Healthier, Happier, Smarter, connecting with Wisconsin's outdoors through learning, stories, and communities. My name is Jaden.
And my name's Zaya.
What happens when learning moves outside the classroom?
You get healthier students, stronger communities, and deeper connections to nature.
Healthier, Happier, Smarter explores outdoor and environmental education across Wisconsin.
From schoolyards and forests to youth-led climate action and community programs. Join us as we share the stories shaping the future of learning and the outdoors. Healthier, Happier, Smarter is brought to you by the Wisconsin Association for Environmental Education in partnership with the James E. Dutton Foundation, a charitable foundation providing financial support to organizations working on projects which benefit wildlife, animal causes, environmental preservation, and outdoor education. Additional financial support comes from the Natural Resources Foundation of Wisconsin and WAEE members and donors with in-kind support from Green and Healthy Schools Wisconsin.
Welcome back to Happier, Healthier, Smarter.
Today we're joined by the Chippewa Falls Green Team. Thank you for joining us, Zoe, Chloe, and Ellie. And for a little background, the Green Team is a group of incredible and passionate young leaders working to improve their community through reducing environmental impacts and engaging in environmental action and education. And when I say these young women are celebrities, I'm not kidding. They have been featured on WPR, WKOW, Focus on Energy, and so many other outlets for the amazing work that they've done. I actually had the pleasure of meeting the team a year ago as I hosted a Youth in Action webinar, and recently saw them again at the annual WAEE conference back in November as the keynote speaker. So we are lucky to have them.
I'm so excited to talk to you guys. I've heard a lot, so no pressure, but I've heard you guys have done a lot of great work. So it is nice to meet you all, Zoe, Chloe, and Ellie. As you know, this podcast is based on the idea that connecting to the environment and taking learning outside through environmental education, how that makes us happier, healthier, and smarter. So I just wanted to ask you guys, how has joining the Green Team made you happier and smarter?
Okay, I'll start. Starting my sophomore year when I got to join Green Team, it was like such an amazing opportunity. Like I didn't realize it obviously when I first joined, but it's been a really great way that I've been able to express my interests in like science and math. And then I've always really cared about obviously the environment. So it's been really awesome and it's made me feel like a really good person to be able to like take my interests and to kind of do something like good with it that I can see in my community. So it's just been a really rewarding experience and we've made a lot of connections throughout the way. So it's been really fun.
It's been an incredible experience. Sometimes we do so much in such a short amount of time that it's so hard to like sometimes realize how many people we've impacted. So it's definitely been incredible to see that like our community just they find us so wonderful and they are supporting us.
Yeah, and then going along with what both of them said, like, it's just so fulfilling, everything we've done looking back at it. And, like, while we're doing stuff, it doesn't always feel like we're doing enough or that we've made as much progress as others have maybe. But, like, looking back, we've done so much. And from where we started to, I have just learned so much because starting out with just kind of knowing basics about renewable energy, now I have, like, a real full understanding of how everything's kind of intertwined on the social level, economic level, and environmental level.
Oh, that is awesome to hear. I can definitely speak for when I was in high school. I was not this like passionate about anything. So it's really awesome to hear how you guys are just like going full steam ahead with this. It's super cool to see. Just like your experiences and like seeing you guys like grow and just like connect deeply with your communities. Just but this is awesome, guys.
So I would love to back up for a second and talk a little bit about what the Green Team is and who's a part of it and what it looks like to be part of the Green Team.
Yeah, I'll start. So the Green Team, we typically keep it as 3 people. So it's me, Chloe, and Ellie. since we're seniors this year, we got 4 new members that we're kind of training in. So that's pretty exciting. Otherwise, outside of Green Team, since it's pretty limited because we work really closely with one another, we have an environmental club that we lead, which is across our whole school. And we have pretty good attendance to our environmental club. It's around probably 30 members. So that's a really good way that we're able to connect with our whole school just outside of Green Team.
And adding on to what Zoe said, we're lucky enough to have an actual like class time set aside for our green team. Our school like is super supportive and allows us like a block chunk in our day, like first and fourth quarter to work together. Basically at the beginning of our green team, we found a passion project and it was environmental. So the past 2 years we've worked on our solar panel project at Camp Nawakwa, working to put solar panels at the camp, which we finally achieved this year, which is super cool and fulfilling.
Yeah, and then to add on to that as well, something that's pretty cool about Green Team is that it's almost completely student-led. We definitely couldn't do it without Mr. Gagnon. He's got so many connections and helps us in so many ways, but the projects are get to be our ideas, and we can kind of do whatever we want with them, and he gives us a lot of freedom towards that. He's just there to, like, guide us and help us, and it's very nice to have him, but it's also very nice that he gives us the freedoms to work on whatever projects we're truly passionate about.
Yeah, so from my understanding, you guys are actually the second group as part of this new kind of green team initiative at the Chippewa Falls High School. Do you want to talk a little bit about group one and how the transition between those young leaders and you guys and the work you do kind of have transformed over the last couple of years?
Yeah. So the first green team was 3 girls, Maddie, Cam, and Bella. And they were definitely like very inspiring to all of us because they were also like so amazing. And they're doing amazing things now in college too. But their big project was getting Hope Village, the low income housing in Eau Claire solar panels. And they were able to fully fund that whole project with grant writing, which is crazy. And then they got the PSC grant as well, which was a really big deal. So obviously, when we were stepping into their shoes, we were like, oh my goodness, like that's crazy. We have like a lot to fulfill from what they did. But I think it really pushed us to be where we are now. And then they were super good at training us and making us feel comfortable, like feeling comfortable talking in front of crowds. And yeah, and then I guess we're kind of in their position now where we're teaching the new green team. So it's kind of like a full circle thing.
Yeah, Zoe kind of said it all. Like, it was definitely big shoes to fill since it was like, their project was so incredible. So it was a little intimidating being like the new faces of the green team and wanting to achieve just as much as they did. But the past 2 years have definitely been a journey and we've worked super hard and proud of where they are at in college. They're still using their green team skills. Like one of the girls that are at Stanford, she's using her drones pilot license for like, I think like an internship or something, which is just incredible. And they're all doing their same thing. And now as we transition into college, we'll probably do the same thing using those green team skills. So super cool.
Yeah, I honestly have to give them a lot of credit for all of the work that they did because I know that with what we've worked on, we definitely use a lot of their like experiences as kind of a template or an outline towards it. So I don't know what we would have done without them because it's given us a lot of guidance and a lot of example on how to get things started and like the process of like solar projects in particular, as well as other things.
Yeah, the work of the original Green Team sounds amazing. Like you've said, big shoes to fill, but you guys have filled them and beyond with the work that you've been doing. And so I'd love to talk a little bit more about that. I know another big part of the Green Team's work is collaborating with community organizations like Hope House or Camp Nawaka. And so I'm curious to know how working with those groups has shaped your experience or impacted your understanding of environmental stewardship and community service.
Yeah, so we mainly worked with Camp Nawakwa, which is a beautiful youth camp in Cornell, Wisconsin. And I literally wrote about it in my college essay. Like the first time I went to Camp Nawakwa, I was like, this place is so beautiful. Like we went like in the fall and we were gonna take drone pictures and it's just so beautiful. Like it's on the water and it's been there for like 90 years now. So it's just like something that's always been in our community. And I knew like at that point that it was the perfect project for us. The camp is based around like youth stewardship for the environment and being environmental activists. So the fact that we were able to help Camp Nawakwa and all these kids like in future generations be able to experience solar panels and learn from what we have been able to do from the camp is super rewarding. Also, the camp vice president, Ms. Jasper, she's like worked side by side with us throughout this whole thing. And she's been like such a great connection. She's definitely like a connection that I know all three of us will have like for a whole life. And like I wouldn't be surprised if I volunteer at Camp Nawakwa for my whole life now. It's just like I just love it and it's a great connection.
Yeah, our team will definitely continue our connections with the camp. Like over the summer, we wrote like an energy kit with the Anne Marie grant, and it came with a bunch of little gadgets and things. And we had the opportunity this summer to go back to the camp and teach kids about like clean energy and lighting and like share our experience with getting solar panels at the camp. So definitely like continuing that at the camp and visiting back. As well as there's so many connections where it comes with community service at the camp. It wasn't just us working on the project. There was also like the utilities and so many people helping us, like, because we obviously don't know how to do an energy audit. So it was super cool to watch that and everybody working together to put solar panels at the camp.
Yeah, and then for me, I think one of the things that I've learned over this experience is that environmental stewardship, like the importance of it isn't necessarily just in like the energy savings and like the decreased carbon emissions and like the environmental and global impact, but more of like the people that it directly affects as far as like the financial strain lifted off of people's shoulders or all of the knowledge that these campers get to learn when we go and teach them with the energy kits and stuff. And just seeing, like, the actual panels up and the impact and people's reactions, I think, is one of the more important parts of environmental stewardship.
Couldn't have said it better myself. I just hearing you all speak about Camp Nawakwa makes me want to go there immediately, and so might have to look into that in my free time.
Yeah, it is so nice to hear that you guys are giving back to your community, teaching the youth as well. Like you were giving back the skills that you were taught from the first group of Green Team. It's like you said, like it's a beautiful full circle moment. So it's super nice. Like you guys have been busy. Like you guys, the solar panels, teaching Camp Nawakwa, like you guys are doing a lot. So, and you're meeting so many cool people. So it's like, my question to you guys is what has been your favorite project or person you've networked with? And tell me like why the project was meaningful, why that connection you think is going to last really long, and like what is the impact of those things?
I think the most obvious answer to that is definitely like the Camp Nawakwa solar project because that was really big and like super impactful, but I'll kind of go like a different route, something that has really resonated with me. One thing we did kind of when we first started is our high school is right next to an elementary school. With our environmental club, we organized these little like energy lessons, kind of similar to the ones we taught at Camp Nawakwa. But we went over and we taught second graders about like renewable energy and like saving energy. And it was so much fun. And it was so crazy to see like how creative like little minds are. Like second graders got so into it. Like they would look forward to us coming over every week with the environmental club. And my biology teacher at the time, I was teaching her daughter. And she told me, she's like, "My daughter tells me every day how excited she is to see the green team in the
Oh,
environmental club." And I'm like, "Oh my goodness." So that's been one of my favorite things because it really shows that, like, no matter how young people are, like, they care about the environment and they want to learn about it. And there's a lot of really good ideas, even from like second graders. So I really like that.
Yeah, that was definitely my favorite as well. Just seeing how interested the little kids are was super fun. I'll add another one, I guess. One of my favorites also was during Soul Stock. So basically our group like competed to get 20 solar panels. And in order to make our presentation super cool, we reached out to like Tony Evers and asked him to make like a video for us. And he actually made a video in supporting us, he wrote us a letter as well because, well, funny story. So we're going to go to Madison and we asked him if we could like go talk to him and share a project with them. But turns out the same day he was actually at our high school visiting. So, well, we were in Madison, so that was a funny coincidence. So he wrote us a letter and he said, if you ever need anything, or I'm totally in support of you guys, your project sounds incredible. So we asked him if he would make a video to support us. And he actually filmed like 3-minute video talking about our project and in support of us, which was super unique, just knowing that he was in support of us and people in Madison are hearing about our project, which is incredible.
Okay, on a bit more of a disappointing note, I think my favorite not favorite project of ours, but the most impactful one was actually the one that completely fell through. At the beginning of our journey, we started a project at our high school. We were gonna put a big solar panel system on the roof of our high school, and we had gotten audits. We'd talked to the city. We had gotten school board approval, and we'd started trying to fund it. And then we found out that the roofing company would completely void the warranty of the roof if we put them on the roof. So that was definitely a major setback. And we had tried so many routes after that, as far as like lots of land across from our high school or different areas around our high school, but we truly just didn't have a lot of space for it. And we ran into some zoning issues as well. And it was really discouraging and really disappointing, especially being our first project that we started, since we had those big shoes to fill. But it really instilled resilience in all of us. And I think that was super important, and it's super applicable to like the real world and once for all in our careers, especially in like an environmental aspect. It's definitely something that I know all professionals have talked about needing is true resilience. And I don't think that without that failure, we would have pushed so much for the big success that we had at Camp Nawakwa. So I truly give a lot of credit to that failure because of how much it taught us and how much it allowed us to push forward and have our true big success.
No, you put that beautifully. No, I love that you brought up a failure that motivated you, because I feel like a lot of the conservation field, and like a lot of our listeners can understand that it's like a lot of the work you do in the environmental field, like you have to adapt in the field. You have to be ready for disappointment, but you can't stop that drive that started you in the first place. It sounds like a lot of you have had your like aha moments. Like that's why I'm in the conservation field. That's why I keep doing the work I do. So yeah, I love that you brought that up. Trial and error it's really a part of life, and especially in the conservation field. So I power to you guys. You're still doing a lot. I respect it.
Yeah, I love the redirection of momentum too. I know getting solar on schools can be difficult for a lot of schools, especially those with aging infrastructure, even roof warranties, which is not something someone would think about in terms of getting solar panels on the roof. But I love that you guys kept on persisting and decided to reach out to your community and work with a local camp, which I think is another route that many other students or schools could take in terms of learning about renewable energy and bringing education to their students. So great, great example. Now, you guys have talked so much about the different projects you're involved in, but one thing that you touched on a little bit that I'd like to hear more about is the drone license or the drone piloting license. So from my recollection, I believe that's part of the green team, and your requirements is to get that license. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so that was one of the first things we did. We got a scholarship to take the drone pilot, like, ground school online course, and it's kind of like taking driver's ed, but for a drone. So, we did that over the summer 2 years ago. That's kinda crazy, and then it was kind of funny, we all, like you have to take the test at an airport. So, we, like, all made a day out of it, and I drove to the airport in Marshfield, I think, and then it was all, like, official, and we had to take the test at an airport like we're pilots, which we are, but, like, not an airplane. But I guess, like, when I was learning about it and stuff, I didn't realize how much we would really use drones, but it's been really cool how many ways we've been able to implement them in our projects, and I think it's also, like, cool to see how, like, different technologies can, like, aid in different, like, environmental projects, especially with ours, so yeah.
And you're given, like, I'm not gonna, like, completely show mine, but I keep it in my wallet. You're given, like, a like, an actual, like, ID license, which is funny.
Oh,
So
official.
Very official,
yeah, you're an
yeah.
official pilot. But we used our drones license during Camp Nawakwa. We, like, took a Scanify course. So basically, we flew the drone, like, above the building we planned to map the solar panels on, and then we sent it to Scanify, which is, like, a software company or software, and they, like, kinda designed our project for us and how it looked like, and it's a lot safer than, like, having people go up there and, like, map out every individual solar panel.
Yeah, and then a few other examples of where we've used the drones is we go to energy career fairs like 2 or 3 times a school year, and we get to teach kids, middle school kids, and high school students, and even the adults in the room find it just as interesting about drones and the careers in them, how they relate to energy, and like what we've done with them. And then we let the kids go out and fly the drones for usually about 15 minutes, and they just love it. Like so many of these kids have never had that opportunity before, or they've just flown like little toy drones before, but not the larger ones that we have, and that's a cool opportunity that we're able to give to other people as well as have for ourselves. We have also used the drones just recently. Actually, we have a thermal imaging drone, and the project that we're working on and we're kind of passing down to the next green team is with making thermal imaging maps and houses in our community that could use insulation, and then connecting them with rebates to do that. So Zoe and I had gone out a few days ago and it was very, very cold, and flown them around some neighborhoods just to get some footage for a video that we're putting together. So there's definitely so many different ways that they can be used and a few ways that we've used them. And it's just, I feel like, a really good technical skill to learn.
That is incredible. I know a lot of high schoolers do not have the opportunity to get their drone pilot's license. And so shout out to Nick for providing that opportunity to students. And to give some background to our viewers too, this green team is like an independent study, I believe, as part of your class schedule. And so you had to kind of like apply to be part of this independent study, and probably, I don't know, is there an interview process, or like how did you get selected?
Yeah, so we kind of like changed the selection process now. So like this time when we picked the new green team, we kind of did like an application and then we like interviewed them. But before us three kind of got chosen, Chloe and I, we like public speaking and stuff. We've been in forensics and we were in AP seminar, which is like we really built our research skills and our speaking skills. So that was really helpful. So we kind of got recommended by a teacher. And then, like, we all, like, have just had a really strong interest in, like, the environment and different, like, science and math. So we kind of just got chosen for, like, our dedication to school and, like, our interest in green team and helping our community. So,
Yeah, thanks for that clarification, Zoe. I appreciate it. Yeah, amazing work all around. I remember you guys using the thermal imaging drone at the WAE conference, and you had people from the audience come up and put like a black sheet, or was it a trash bag, I think? Yeah, a trash bag in front of them, and then use the drone to kind of see the heat images of the people. And it was a really fun, interactive way to showcase the drone during a keynote speaker. So props to you guys. I know this might be a question for some of our listeners. You know, now that you guys have done all of this amazing work, what is next? You know, you guys are seniors. I'm sure you're thinking about kind of the next steps after graduation. And I I can't leave without asking, of course. I'm sure you guys get asked the question enough.
yeah, it's a very exciting time for all of us. Like, figuring out what we're gonna do, and it's crazy. Like, high school went by so fast. But I personally, a couple of weeks ago, I'm super excited. I applied to Purdue University and I got accepted with their presidential scholarship. So,
Nice.
yeah, so I'm super excited because their engineering school, I toured it and I was like blown away. So, I'm going there for their first year engineering program, and I plan on probably going into chemical engineering with a minor in environmental science. So, to kind of deal with the more like technical chemistry side of things. But I'm really excited to see where my future takes me, and I'm excited to get a really good education. So,
That is so incredible, Zoe. Oh
Wow.
my goodness. Wow, exactly. The only word I can think
That's all.
of.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Thank you. Yeah. I really wanna keep environmental activism, like, in my life forever because everything I've learned through Green Team has been, like, super impactful in my life, so
Wow. Yeah, shout out to Nick. Again, let's see how many times we can shout him out. This and for those who are listening, Nick is their green team leader or advisor, who helps get them into this and do all of the amazing things they've been able to do. Chloe, what about you?
Well, I am hoping to hear back from UW-Madison either on Wednesday or Friday this week. So
Wow,
hopefully
coming up.
get in. I know. But I plan on majoring in English and then going on a pre-law track to be like an environmental lawyer. So I want to keep like the environment definitely in my career future, which I'm super excited for. And yeah, we'll see back from Madison this week. So fingers
You
crossed
got
and
this.
hopefully.
For our listeners, comment down below the fingers crossed emoji in support of Chloe.
Exactly.
All
Fingers
right, Ellie,
crossed.
what about you?
Yeah, fingers
Mhm.
crossed all you want, but she's done so much work in high school and is definitely getting into Madison. I want to get back into the renewable energy field definitely because I really like the work we're doing now, and we've connected with so many people that have jobs that I would just love to have. And I'm gonna go for more of like the engineering side of it, maybe with like electrical engineering or some sort of that, maybe civil engineering to get back into that and continue my impact from there.
That is
Right.
so incredible that all of you are thinking about the environment and the next steps. It just goes to show how impactful the Green Team has been in your lives and how impactful this kind of opportunity could be to other students as well. So I know I'm supposed to ask a different question, but I don't care. I I want to know more about your grants and grant writing because obviously solar panels are not free. And so how were you able to secure funding and even gain the skills to write grants and apply for grants and kind of what that process looked like?
it was definitely a process. We started pretty small with the Keep Mini Grant. They make it super easy for like high school students to kind of start to like learn the grant process. And it really set us up to like understand how to write a larger grant. And then I feel like I also got a lot of background too. I just like writing speeches, like I like taking like my seminar class and stuff. So I had some background like researching, but I definitely think that the Keep mini grant helped us a lot and set us up for success for larger grants like Solar Moonshot.
Yeah, going off of what Zoe said, AP seminar definitely set me up for grant writing. It's definitely a process. Every grant is kind of different. We've done like a lot of research. There's some grants that we applied for that we didn't get that weren't, it's just finding like the right fit. Some grants are for like not a nonprofit and it's kind of hard to like match that. But we definitely got inspiration from the last girls. They've definitely tackled a lot of the grants. So like Solar Moonshot, we just got. Same with One Energy. That was like a $10,000 grant. And then donated us like 12 solar panels, I believe.
There's a lot of technicality to it, and honestly, they're more Englishy than I am, so they did more of the writing and stuff. But I could probably tell you a little bit more about the numbers. So as far as, like, the completed solar panel system goes for Camp Nawakwa, we had originally gotten the 12 solar panels and $10,000 from One Energy as a donation, and then we wrote the Solar for Good grant from the Couliard Foundation to match that with the solar panels. So that one wasn't with money, but was with the solar panel match. So that put us at 24 panels and $10,000. And then from there, got the we went to the Soul Stock competition, and that's the one that we won that I think Chloe was talking about earlier. And we got 20 more solar panels from that. And we got a little bit of prize money to put towards the installation costs as well. And then following that, we had it all drafted up to see the results from the Soul Stock competition, but then we submitted the Solar Moonshot grant and they're out of California, and that was for I think $20,000 to finish covering the installation costs for the camp. So it did end up getting fully funded, which was awesome. And that's where the majority of our grant writing went to. And then I think Zoe mentioned too, we did the Keep Mini Grant before that for smart strips to save energy over at Hillcrest with their smart boards. And then we also did the Anne Marie grants to put together those kits that we would take to Camp Nawakwa and the elementary schools and the energy career fairs.
Yeah, exceptional. I mean, there's my vocabulary is not big enough to describe all of the amazing work that you all are doing. I know thinking about grant writing can be a little bit daunting, but hearing from you all, you guys make it sound like a breeze and everyone should be doing it. So hats off to you. I know we've talked a little bit throughout this episode about ways you've interacted with the community, but how do you think your work, short term, long term, could make your school community or the Chippewa Falls community healthier, happier, and smarter?
I think one of my favorite kind of symbols that we've made in our community is, even though like Ellie was talking, our first really big solar project kind of failed. Like she said, it definitely was not a failure because we still got the smaller 12 panel solar array at our school. And it's like right in front of the school at the entrance in front of the teacher parking lot. And I just love where it is because it's like a perfect visual picture to like our whole community, like what the future is going to be and like what our school stands for. And there's so many jobs in renewable energy opening up that a lot of people don't know about. And then it's always just a pressing issue. And solar panels and renewable energy, it just needs to become more normalized. And I think it's really impactful that we've been able to get more solar panels in our community for more people to be able to see and kind of normalize and see that it is good.
Yes, exactly. And also, I think it's important to like educate the youth. And I think by having our environmental club like continue for the last like 2 years, we went to the elementary school, like Zoe mentioned earlier, teaching them about renewable energy because that's something like you're kind of taught about as a kid, but you don't really go in depth about it. And just seeing how like excited kids are and that they want to learn and that they do care and that they do have ideas and just continuing that as they get into high school. A lot of them, like some of the teachers asked, do you want to be in green team when you're in high school? And like so many of them said absolutely, and that they care about the environment.
To kind of hit all three of these things individually, I think that as far as healthier, our community has just had more of like an environmental impact. And I think that our outreach of that will inspire others as well. Just as far as like the solar panels and stuff, and other little projects that we've done for energy saving or conservation. And then as far as happier, I think that the impact of the solar panels on the people, like I was talking about before, will be helpful as far as like the financial strain and whatnot. And then for smarter, definitely one of our goals, like Zoe and Chloe had talked about a bunch, is educating the youth and the younger students and getting the word out. And as well as I think the green team that the three seniors started last year will definitely have a big impact on the community for however long it lasts for. I think it'll just become such a big thing, and the impact that they'll have in years from now will be super huge.
Yes, I couldn't agree more. And out of curiosity, were you able to offset 100% of the energy consumption at Camp Nawakwa with your solar panels or 80%? I'm not sure if you guys know the numbers.
So the issues a little bit with Camp Nawakwa is that, well, it's such a big place and a lot of their buildings had different like meters and they're not interconnected altogether. So the project would have been much, much more expensive to wire them all to this solar panel system. So we can't completely offset the electricity costs of the camp overall, but for the building that it's on and the building it's connected to, I don't know the exact coverage of it because we had some issues with like the net metering as well. But I believe we got that figured out for it to mostly, if not fully, cover the energy costs and usage from like the two main buildings of the camp that it's connected to. So it's not going to completely cover the camp, unfortunately, but it wouldn't have made sense financially to have that stretch. It wouldn't have been a benefit for the camp in the end.
Yes, that completely makes sense. I know those different obstacles are things that lots of homeowners, organizations, schools face as well. And so making sure that whatever solar project you're investing in makes sense financially, makes sense environmentally, and so on. But yeah, I appreciate you spreading some light on the numbers a little bit.
Yeah, you guys are talking about educating the youth. I feel educated. This is healthier, happier, smarter work. If I've ever heard about it, like I need to get myself in a time machine, show my high school self about this podcast and say, you've got to do half the work these girls are doing because this is awesome stuff, guys. And I know I don't want to keep you guys for too long. I know you're busy, you've got to go fly some drones, you've got to go put some solar panels in. But if our listeners wanted to learn like a bit more about the Green Team and maybe even like get involved in support, where can they find some more information about the Chippewa Falls Green Team?
A really good place to start for everyone, how we got involved, was definitely with like Keep. We like at all of the little career fairs we go to, we always say like, if you're passionate about the environment, don't sell yourself short. Like talk to an advisor or like a teacher you have and, try to start your own green team or an environmental club. And like we go to different youth conferences and we are always so willing to kind of share our story to other individuals and, give out our emails, whatever, just to help bring connection across other green teams and youth who are interested in the environment.
Yeah, that's the best way to do it. Networking is how we get through the conservation field. It's a lot of everybody knowing each other and just hearing about the good work everybody's doing. And if anybody wanted to keep involved, like of the drones you guys are flying, do you guys have like an Instagram, a Facebook page, a monthly newsletter, anything of the sorts?
Our environmental club does have an Instagram. I think it's just called like Chai High Environmental Club. Also, our school posts about us. So if you want to follow us on school's Facebook,
No, I'm
we're
sure
on
you're the
there.
pride and joy.
In addition to that, then too, if you just want to find out more about us, definitely look up the Chippewa Falls School District Facebook page or any of like the local news stories from Chippewa Falls. We've been mentioned or featured in some of those, as well as I know like the Wisconsin Public Radio. We were part of one of their podcasts as well. Or looking up anything from Keep or Need. I know we've been partners with them in the past, so definitely you could look there as well. Or feel free to reach out to any of us. Or if you want to get connected with WAE at all, I'm sure they could get you to us as well.
And I mean, you guys are selling yourselves short. I looked up Chippewa Falls Green Team on Google and I was scrolling for at least 5 minutes, seeing all of like the press releases and videos and on the news. And I mean, not only is your district showcasing your amazing efforts, but there's so many other local communities and other like media outlets that want to showcase your success too. So it goes to show that maybe your projects are small, maybe they're just at a camp or in your local community, but they do make a bigger difference statewide and nationally as well. And with that, I want to thank you all so much for joining us today. Congrats to Chippewa Falls Green Team for all of the amazing work that you've done. And I can't wait to see what the next new generation of the Green Team does in this next year. It'll be incredible. Your efforts and leadership are a powerful reminder to us all of how environmental education and community action can create positive change. And so with that, be sure to like, subscribe, and drop a light bulb emoji in the comments if you're feeling energized about environmental education, because I know I am. Until next time, we hope you stay connected to your community, curious about the world around you, and inspired to make a difference. Thank you. And thank you all for joining us.